In this video, I'm going to talk about Theory X, Theory Y, and Theory Z. Now these have the words theory in their title, but they are actually leadership philosophies. In the 1960s, David McGregor broke down the management literature into two theories of human motivation and work behavior, Theory X and Theory Y. Theory X views that people as mostly passive, lazy, resistant to change with little to no ambition. Managing in Theory X comes down to the carrot and the stick. In the hard Theory X, management must use a big stick. The only way to get followers to work is through tight control and monitoring of their work and a fear of punishment. Soft Theory X uses a little of the carrot. People will work hard when bribed by reward for doing the work. Leadership styles in this theory are autocratic and top-down. What is interesting about Theory X is that the management has a built-in excuse for failure. It's the people. Followers simply did not work hard enough because they are lazy and in some cases outright saboteurs. At the heart of this theory is that people do not like to work and must be forced and coerced against their will to actually do work. Theory Y states that humans have a natural desire to work. In Theory X, followers derive no satisfaction from their work. But in Theory Y, followers do derive great satisfaction from their work by achieving organizational and personal goals. In Theory Y, followers will commit to work at the level the work allows them to achieve their goals. Leadership in Theory Y is democratic and participative, and there is no easy excuse for failure. In fact, failure can usually be seen as a fault of the leader, not the followers. McGregor favored Theory Y, and even today, Theory Y is taught as the correct way for a leader to think of motivation in followers. But not too long after Theory X and Theory Y became prominent, some scholars saw the choice between the two as a false dichotomy. What was needed was for leadership to create the right fit between people, jobs, and the organization. The two theories could be seen as being on a spectrum rather than as a polar opposite of choices. Certain situations and people would call for a heavy Theory Y approach, let's say with highly skilled, motivated, and experienced people. And other times, more Theory X would be needed, like with people who are not as motivated or experienced. The important idea was to adjust your approach based on the people and the job. In one case, a person might be very motivated. In another situation, that same person, far less motivated. So how you approach that person in those two situations is different. This would become eventually known as the contingency theory of leadership. Now, in the 1980s, Theory Z was developed. And this stated that management in an organization should look after and take care of their employees so that their employees will show strong loyalty to the organization. This loyalty is called effective commitment. And research shows that organizations with more effective commitment in their employees are far more successful than those organizations without. This theory is based on studies of Japanese companies where people would spend their entire lives working. At the heart of this theory is organizational culture. A healthy organizational culture is one that fits the work, the organization, and its people. The right culture can greatly increase effective commitment. Now, around the time that Theory X and Theory Y were being formulated, Chris Argyris was studying organizational behavior. His studies found that the strict controls and hierarchies of many companies led to passivity and dependence on management. This was not fulfilling, and employees would respond in 6 ways. One is they would withdraw physically. They just wouldn't show up to work and call in sick a lot. 2, they would withdraw psychologically. That would be being apathetic and not engaged in their work. 3 is they would stop producing and performing work altogether, even when they were there. 4 is they would actually climb the hierarchy themselves in order to get a better job with better pay. The 5th way would be to form powerful alliances like labor unions. And the 6th way would actually be to teach their children that work is unrewarding. Now, I think these 6 behaviors can be seen even in work in organizations like libraries, where there is very little control and hierarchy. People look for meaning and fulfillment in their work, and when they do not find it, they start to engage in these 6 behaviors. Now, if leadership is about creating meaning, then leaders can create fulfilling work through the meaning created around the work that the library or the organization is doing. But ultimately, it's about the professional to find what works for them. The balance between the two varies on the people involved and is one aspect of the leadership followership process.